Hello and welcome back to the channel. In this episode of Shenanigans, we're working on the Duramax sound system since I've been doing a bunch of stuff to it. This is everything that I pulled out of the original radio sub-harness behind the dash. This is what runs that BOSE amp and that box that's behind the passenger side airbox that's in charge of the that emergency response system and XM radio and all. So this is everything that I eliminated out of that original harness, all those pigtails and stuff. So you can eliminate literally half the harness. And here's what I have, rebuilding it. Okay. So we'll start at the junction box under the parking brake area. So here's the powers and grounds coming in to the system. And this is going to be my ignition wire for my radio to turn my radio on and off with the key. This is to the driver's side tweeter that's in the A-pillar. These little ones right here. And then, of course, it runs across behind the dash. And here's my plug for my JVC radio. And here is my audio wires. I have an extra 12-volt wire twisted up and tied up right here. This is the plug that plugs into the truck harness. And this is what you get your speakers. Like, this is where the speakers plug into from the truck into the radio harness. So you do need this gray plug. And you're not going to cut any wires or anything out of this. You are going to cut the wires from the other plug, though, to run your aftermarket radio, which is... This was the original radio plug. Okay. So we have some more extra power and ground wires right here that I just twisted up because just in case if I ever need another power and ground behind the dash for like charging system for a phone setup or something. And then over here, here's the rest of my audio wire, which this is long enough to reach all the way to the back of the truck, which I will get to in a moment. This is the other passenger side tweeter. And in here, okay, this is where I have everything that's going to be running to the amp. Now, my truck originally had the center console, so all these wires ran under the carpet, and I pulled them up because I'll show you where I'm relocating the aftermarket amp. Alright, but these two wires, we have a pink wire and a purple that I repurposed from this original harness. I don't know what they were exactly doing, but I repurposed them. Both of these are the trigger wires to the amp. I have two of them here because one of them is going to be for my door speakers, like surround sound setup. And then the other one is going to be for subs because I'm going to run 2 amps. So these two run over here. This is part of the original wiring on the truck. So one wire from here gets tied up into 2 and they run around over here. So amp triggers. We have power and ground, which I'm only using these powers and grounds for my surround door amp because that's not going to draw as much power as a sub. The sub I will get power off of a battery. And then of course here are the door speakers. Let's see if I get this right. This is front passenger. This one is front driver. So blue wires are front driver, green wires are front passenger. Yellow and brown, I believe, are the rear passenger. And then the gray and tans are the driver passenger. So it's a pretty simple setup. Okay, so now here, all of this this stuff right here is going to be behind my glove box, because I have some amps here. This is my radio, my JVC here. I'm going to run one of these 2 amps. I'm not sure which one yet, but I'm going to fit it up in there in front of the AC box. Because, like, for instance, this big one right here, it will, I can hang it upside down, actually the other way, but you get the idea. I can hang it right up in here, and I can still get to the controls to adjust the bass and treble and all that stuff. So here's where we're at. And the blue wires audio is long enough to run from here all the way to the back. That way I can run my bass sub there, and then I can loop the audio back using this audio plug to the sub for the door system over here. That way everything is nice and hidden, and it's all super clean. Okay, amp is wired up with original speaker wires. So we'll see how this works out. Okay, so the amp is kind of hanging up in there. I literally ran out of zip ties, so it's actually tied in there with a piece of wire right now. But the little amp fits beautifully behind the glove box here, and I have it in such a way where I can easily access the little tuning screws, and I can switch the audios around when it's time to put in the different amp system for the subs in the back. So I can run the audio stuff all around. Because that blue wire is long enough to run all the way to the back. Coming together nicely. Okay, so I already have the radio set up. This is a few days later now. Hey Ginger, how you doing? And I've already had it working, but I was at Walmart earlier, and I remembered that Walmart has these cool little suckers. They call these circuit jumpers. I'll pull it out for you. This sucker. Y'all remember my ignition for the radio? This is what these jumpers look like. So the bottom fuse is the original ignition fuse for the truck now. And then the top fuse is your new jumper fuse where the radio pulls its power through. So that's what it looks like. And I'm sure a lot of people already know this, but on the 03 and up Silverados, the very top fuse right up there is where everybody taps in for ignition power for our aftermarket sound systems. So we're just going to go ahead and stick that back up there. Here we go. Let me see if I can turn on my... Okay, there we go. Turn on the flashlight. So that's what it looks like right up in there. It goes over the other 15, and then there's a 10 back there hiding too, so there we go. So I already have all the rest of the truck put back together. It's not gutted anymore. Here is the package that little... This is what they call them. Ginger, stop it. Okay, they call them Add a Circuit or a Fuse Tap by Eaton. That's what it is. So there's your info. Everything's set up. The amp works great. It powers up all my door speakers, because all 4 doors have speakers, and I think it's 4-inch tweeters. And then I also have the tweeters up in the front pillars. So everything came out great. And I painted my dash black. I might end up starting to paint the rest of the interior black. And I have the stupid tan stuff here for some reason. But yeah, and I already ran all the wires for my base setup later on. All the wires are already ran to the back of the truck. So everything is already there. Just need to plug it all in. Nice and clean, no more wires hanging out anywhere. Ginger being annoying. And here, I'm running all of my wires on the passenger side. Since this is a diesel, I have a battery on the passenger side. So my 12 volt to the rear amp is coming in through over here, and it's running all back here. So it is super clean. I'm trying to make it as clean to where you would never think there's a sound system in here, like it's factory. The only thing you can see is right there behind the carpet. And then I just have them stuck right there for now. So we got audio and 12 volts. The only one I didn't run, I forgot to run, was the other signal wire for the amp, to turn the amp on and off with the radio. So when I go to put the rear amp in here, I'm going to have to run the wires, the one little wire back under all through this stuff. And yes, it's been a few days and it's still tied up with wire right now. No zip ties. Here's the other audio. So that's where we're at for now. We done for now, peeps. And just for fun, I'm gonna throw in a couple of videos when I ripped the HVAC system out of here. And I think I might have a video clip of when I cut the HVAC box out for the cabin air filter. Because, as a lot of y'all know, they stopped to that in 02. So they make these little covers here so you can cut your 03 and up boxes out for cabin air filters. The little tab here for the screw hole is there, and the little hook where it goes in right there, it is also already there. So all you have to do is just cut the piece out, the piece of plastic out to put the filters in. And I don't know if I put it in the video anywhere. I don't think so. But I'm actually running a 2002 evaporator in this 03 or 04 box. Because the 02 evaporator is actually 2 cores bigger, or 2 rows bigger. So it should be pretty good. And I'm actually running an 02 blower motor. It's all the stuff out of I had a 2002 Silverado 2500 HD that got destroyed in a wreck last year. So I have a lot of extra parts. So I'm running the 02 evaporator, 02 blower motor, and it's cut out to run cabin filters. So I'm just waiting on the new compressor still. But I'm probably not going to make a video on that, just because AC system charging, there's like a million videos already. Anyways, so that's it. I would put on some music to show, but I don't want any hassle with YouTube, like saying that I'm plagiarizing music or whatever. But yes, the sound system works perfect. So, anybody who wants to put an aftermarket amp with your original sound system, with an old BOSE or BOSE wiring harness, you can totally do it. And since I got rid of the center console, because this originally had the big center console and I put the jump seat, the plug was like right under here. So I picked all the wiring up because it originally ran like an L up this way, like behind here. So that's where I got my wiring from. So I didn't even add wires. I actually cut wires away. Well, I just cut the plug off. That way the wiring harness would still be long enough to reach to over here. So yeah, you can actually reuse the harness and you don't have to add any wires. You can just reuse the original wiring. So yeah, guys, this is it. Thanks for watching. Not as bad as it looks. But for some reason, Chevy decided that you have to rip your truck apart. That way you can clean out your HVAC core under the dash. So now, for the next couple of days, I get to drive my truck around looking like it just came out of a you-pull-it yard. Here we be. And here's what's left of the dash stuff that's strewn all over the C10 at the moment. Lovely. The wind is blowing insane out of these vents right now, like it's crazy. It's never been this strong before, ever, and it's like, it's better than my white truck even. Like, I'm super impressed. I do it for my fans. Just kidding, this truck is a piece of shit.